another edition of Box Seats. I'm your host, Frank Holder. This is the show where we talk about sports with comedians, and we have a great time doing that. First up is my man who has a very, very long resume. He even played some sports, playground. He's a playground legend. My man, Talent in the building. What's up,
You know what it is, baby. Playground legend here on the check-in, baby. I'm on the check-in.
Martha's Vineyard look really bright and sunshiny behind you now, boy.
Listen, man, we having a good time, Frank. I can't even complain, brother. I think it's 6 shows down, 3 to go, something like that. Like, I just stopped counting, bro.
I hope y'all record something. Send the.
I just stopped. You know, they always get their stuff in. They don't play around out here. They got this island on lock. The island gave them the whole month. Now August is Black Comedy Month.
Bro, please record something, send it to me. That's all I ask. My man Fig is also in the building. He's another playground legend. What's up, Fig?
That's true. That is definitely true. I don't care what you do in Martha's Vineyard. If they ain't got no fried chicken and potato salad, it's garbage.
Interesting take. My man Mike Sean. I don't even know if Mike Sean's a playground legend, but
I'm a monkey bars legend. Like, I'm a monkey bars legend. Like, y'all don't understand like what I did as a Puerto Rican. Me and the Dominicans, we was, first of all, Talent's not a playground legend. Talent was in a goddamn basketball movie and that he was great in. He's a comedic legend.
Oh, okay. Well, that thing is a legend.
I ain't never seen Talent kill it at Rutgers. Now, I know I did see Talent kill it at one basketball park, but God, really, Frank? You just giving playground legends?
I played at the Rucker, Mike. It's okay. It's all right.
Did you play at the Rucker?
Well, I was nice. Let me say was.
No, you were nice. You were nice. I saw you doing your thing.
All right, Mike, if you want to take over, I'll dive out. Looks like you guys with also feedback. Playground legend with the feedback. What happened? Yep.
D, what's up? What's up, fellas? Now, hey, all you playground legends, but you know what? They did a movie with my high school, Coach Carter, baby. Richmond High Oilers.
Yeah, we did a movie of mine too.
All right, I was a handball legend in the Bronx. And ask anybody in Soundview Project if I wasn't. Since we doing legends.
Hey, Mike. Hey, Mike.
Hold on. D, you're gonna have to fix your sound. The sound is not good. I'm muting you.
No, I'm not doing anything.
You're not.
I always feel.
Turn my TV off. Turn my TV off.
I don't know. Yeah, you got to get a mic or something, bro. Yeah.
I don't have. Hold on, let me see if my headphones work because I don't have.
Say something. Yes. Well, I don't have nothing on. When I will keep you on mute until it's time for you to talk, and then I'll put
That's
you.
That's not even his fault. The whole point of this is that his house is too damn big. Like, and that's life.
That happens. So yeah, when I go to you, D, I'm gonna go to you, and then we won't say anything that way. There won't be no feedback. Okay, that's what we're gonna do. All right, so let's get ready to get the show started. I'm gonna start with my man T. I'm gonna start with you, T, and I'm gonna get this thing running around first. First thing up, T. The first thing I saw this morning, I don't know if you heard this or not, but Tyson Fury retired 3 days after he came back. He said he was going to come back. He had been retired. Then after 3 days, and he said, "Yeah, I'm retiring," and he's out. And a lot of people are disappointed because people were expecting to see him, box again. Because I'm sure Mike could talk about this a lot more than I could. But a lot of people are excited because he brings over a lot of excitement that you don't expect to see back in the sport. When you hear Tyson Fury retiring, T, what's your thought? What's the first thought that comes to your mind?
First thought that came to my mind. He got a new chick in his life. That's the first thing you do. Yeah, when retirement comes out of nowhere, you got a new chick.
I hate you.
Sky's the limit. And you be like, you know what? I'm taking a little time off. She done turned him out, right? He probably, off the last victory, probably took a trip back to Vegas, did a week downtime with her, and she always stops. And the next press conference was, I'm going to take a little time off.
My man Dave, the business bully, has joined the show too. Dave, what's happening?
Man, everything is everything, apparently.
Everything good with you, sir?
Yes, sir. I don't have any interesting complaints today. I'm feeling good.
Well, thank you for joining the show, man. I appreciate you. I'm going to let me ask my man Fig, what's his thoughts first? Fig, what's your thoughts about Tyson Fury literally retiring? What's your thoughts?
I know the Caucasian community, the Europeans, are very distraught because he was the heavyweight champ and the great white hype. They love him and them Klitschko brothers.
Oh my God.
The motto is to quit while you're ahead. So he's getting out now before he meet a real boxer that's going to knock his block off like Deontay Wilder did in the first fight. Because quiet as kept, he's the first heavyweight boxer to get a 15-round count. Deontay Wilder knocked him out. He was on the ground. When he knocked him down, I went and got something to eat. I made myself a sandwich and I got something to drink. When I came back, the ref was still counting. And then he got up and he was like, okay, let's keep the fight going. I was like, what? Quit while you're ahead.
Let me ask the guy who knows a lot about boxing and on the show, my man Mike Sean. What's the thing that you think about when you hear Tyson Fury retire?
When a boxer retires, it's like me saying I stopped drinking. It never happens. It never happens. It's always another process. When Tyson Fury says I'm gonna stop fighting, it's until another promoter or promoting company decides to bid $60 million on another fight. Boxers never really retire. Like we watched Cigarette Leonard got knocked out by Hector Camacho because they offered him $15 million to fight Hector Camacho. Boxers never really retire except a few. Floyd Mayweather, Marvin Hagler, and a few other fighters that decided that they would actually hang it up. Now, the Tyson Fury joke that everybody's saying, he beat the one. Deontay Wilder got his ass beat by Tyson Fury.
Mm-hmm.
Like, didn't get this. He got destroyed by Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury is one of the most vicious heavyweights that you will ever see. But because boxing is not a big deal in America anymore, we still think about Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson wouldn't beat Tyson Fury. He's 270 pounds and can fight. Mike Tyson couldn't beat Buster Douglas, and Buster Douglas was 6'2" and 250. When I tell you that Tyson Fury will be one of the most underrated, just like Lennox Lewis is one of the most underrated heavyweights ever, these guys are so big, so strong, and so like literally boxing skilled that we will underestimate them. But boxing isn't the biggest deal in the world anymore. Yeah, but I'm just telling y'all, when y'all say Tyson Fury and y'all laugh about Tyson Fury will knock out your favorite heavyweight. Your favorite heavyweight. You call Larry Holmes, you call anybody. Your favorite heavyweight, Tyson Fury will knock out. Promise.
Right, young George Foreman. I take a young George Foreman.
He will get knocked out.
Let me get Daniel Dugard in here. Daniel, tell everybody what's your thoughts.
Next question, please. No. You know what, man? It's crazy how the heavyweights outside of Wilder, they're really not in shape anymore like that. The Russian boys is in shape, but Fury, I don't think he's gonna knock out every heavyweight. I think Holyfield will give him some problems. Because all you got to do is hit him on the chin. It's no big deal to me if he retires, man. You know, I don't really care.
Okay, well, that's his thought. Dave, the business bully, what's your thoughts, bro?
This is a money move, Frank. This is all this is, right? And I'm not going to give into the semantics of whether or not Tyson Fury could knock out everybody in the history of everybody, because let's face it, none of us have an eye of Agamotto to take us through the multiverse of madness to see these dream fights unless you've got a video game system. I don't really think it matters, Frank. What I do know is that Tyson Fury is smart enough to take the Ronda Rousey, Kurt Angle route, and he's going to go head over to WWE. He's going to get a payday, and he's just going to mind his business. He's going to work 4 pay-per-views a year and make 6 regular television appearances, and he's going to make between $60 and $150 million a year for that, just because he is who he is. That's what I would do. You want to know why? Because the alternative, God rest his soul, is Muhammad Ali.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. It is. So T, I also saw some other news that definitely is going to shock me when I saw it this morning, that Joe Dumars, who we all know, NBA Hall of Famer, NBA Finals MVP, championship executive, and everything else, the first Black executive to ever lead a team to an NBA title. He is now moved up. He got a promotion into the league office as executive vice president and head of basketball operations. He is going to oversee the evolution of rules and officiating. Now, I don't know about you, but when I read that, I almost fell out laughing. I was like, wait a minute, I had to read that twice. You mean to tell me Joe Dumars from the Bad Boys, the Pistons Bad Boys, is about to be the head of the evolution of the rules and officiating with discipline?
Well, hold on, Frank. Don't do that. In his defense, he was the one nice guy on the Bad Boys.
He really was.
He was the one guy who you really couldn't pin down, and they had a lot of melee. Mm-hmm. They was known for the melee and the fights. To me, the poster child is Bill Laimbeer, and then everybody else is accomplices. But Joe Dumars is the one single player that if you live through it, I'm not lying, you really never looked at him as a bet. Like he was the guy breaking up the fights and the squirms, and he was cool dude. Everybody likes Joe.
All right, but T, let me ask you this question, and I'm gonna ask everybody this question. Let me ask you this question: if you're Joe Dumars, you walk in the office, what's the one rule that you change as soon as you get in it? Like hands down, like I'm walking in. First rule I'm changing because he's the head of officiating now. Right. What you gonna change?
Well, he's a guard, so you bring back hand checking, but you allow it to be in the face.
Hilarious. Fig.
Taylor said you can mug somebody. Like
Fig, Joe Dumars now comes in. He is the head of officiating. He's the head of the officiating along with discipline. So he the discipline and head of officiating. That's Joe Dumars, Detroit Pistons NBA Hall of Fame. What's the first rule you think he's going to change or extend upon when he walks in?
Good Lord, man. There's so many ways that you could go with this. It's like putting a rat in charge of cheese. It was like, yes, all this cheese is mine, right? Like Joe Dumars was one of the nicest guys on the Bad Boy Pistons, man, but he was a bad player. I'm hoping that he will bring back a little bit of the defense in the NBA and allow just a little bit of hand checking in some semblance and take away all these aggressive fouls like they have right now. Because if you barely touch somebody, it's a flagrant. Maybe he could wind that back a little bit. You know what I mean? I don't want nobody to get hurt, but take off some of the flagrant fouls just a little bit, man, because it's getting ridiculous.
Mike Sean, man, like I said, Joe Dumars, head of officiating, head of discipline in the NBA. What rules do you think he's going to change in your opinion? Because there's a lot of rules he could walk in and change. What do you think he's going to do?
Number one, I don't want the hand check back because it just allows people who can't play defense to play defense. Derek Harper couldn't cover Michael Jordan, but if he grabbed him at half court, then he had a chance. And I think Joe Dumars realizes that there were a lot of people that couldn't cover him. Like a lot of people forget, Joe Dumars offensively was vicious. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people were able to grab him and not allow him to be able to do what he can do. Steph Curry would not be Steph Curry if we allowed these guys to brutalize him every time he went to the hole, pause, and not pause, unpause, because we all go to the hole, and I like going to the hole. Listen, but my thing is like Steph Curry, if you grab him at half court, then you can eliminate a lot of what he does. I think Joe Dumars realizes that the game gets publicized and makes more money when more offense is involved. The same way the NFL realizes that the NFL is more popular when you can allow the receivers not to be mugged at the line of scrimmage. Okay. So I think Joe Dumars is like, listen, I was with the bad boys by association, but I had to guard Jordan one-on-one. And I realized that, all the time, he was the one who was obligated to actually guard Jordan one-on-one. And yeah, he got beat up like John Starks and everybody else got beat up. But my thing was the NBA ratings went up every time you had another offensive player that starred in something. Just like LeBron now, just like Jordan then, just like Allen Iverson and all that other stuff.
Daniel Dugard, what's your take, bro? Do you think the NBA is going to make with Joe Dumars? Do you think they're going to make any rule changes? If so,
I hope so. And by the way, Mike Sean, your background looks really domestic and nice. Like if you got potato salad in the refrigerator, it's a very nice background.
I actually do.
No, but I'm just saying the background is really nice.
Thank you. I bought that at an auction.
I think Joe Dumars, who was the nicest guy on the Pistons, as I echo the other brothers, carrying the basketball. There's too much and one carrying in the league. When you look at some of these guys' handles, there are some legitimate ones, but they carry so much, it makes their handles unstoppable. I hope they implement that. And I hope they also let these guys be allowed to goaltend a little bit.
That's a good one. I think there is a lot of carrying in the league. I didn't even think about that one. There's a lot of that.
No, then Allen Iverson is out the league.
Yeah, I'm not talking about Allen Iverson, but we'll get to that.
No, if we're going to talk about carrying, the man that changed the whole culture of NBA, Allen Iverson, carried every time he crossed over.
Yeah, but we're not talking about that right now. We're letting Dave.
Okay, well, I'm talking about it right now. How about that, Frank? How about that?
Like that, you better let him speak on it with that background. Let him speak on it.
Yeah, I bought that at an auction.
Dave gets his turn. We're gonna come back to that. What's your take?
I mean, Frank, it's no shock to anybody here that I'm a parent, and as a parent, you begin to realize that we have children that are punk asses. They're snowflakes. They're weak. They're corny, and this translates to every area of human endeavor, including the NBA. Do you remember when you could watch the NBA, not only get a really good basketball game, but also there'd be some blood, and then the water boy just sit up there and just mop up the blood and everything was good? You remember that, Frank? That's what I want Joe Dumars to bring back. I want the fights. I liked Bill Laimbeer. I like to boo Bill Laimbeer because low-key I felt like he was a racist that says, you know what? I don't give a damn. I'm going to play with these niggers and I'm going to make them feel. That's what we need to bring back. I want the violence back. I want you to stop right at that line where you start to go up in the crowd. Just right there, because that's what's going to bring excitement back. And you know what happens when you bring excitement back, Frank? Just putting this out here. More people watch, and when more people watch, that means you can charge a lot more for ads. It's all good business, professionally speaking.
I can't deal with this. When the violence was in, that's when the NBA was at its lowest ratings, and that's when the NBA finals.
Oh God, let the joke live.
That's when. Hold on. That's when the NBA finals was on tape delay. That's when the NBA finals was at tape delay. The reason why Steph Curry and everybody and LeBron have brought the ratings up is because we reverted from that. We took away from that. The NBA was like, you business bully, for yourself as a businessman in the 70s, the NBA was about to go out of business.
Yes, but this isn't the 70s. We didn't have taped. We didn't have 7-second delays. We didn't have dumps. We didn't have cutaways. We didn't have multi-camera angles. We did not have drones. We did not have a lot of things that we have today. All I'm saying is the game would be a little bit better if we had a lot more Smash Mouth. Oh yeah, and by the way, back 40 years ago, since we're pulling the 70s out of our ass, we also have to keep in mind that there was no such thing as a majority black team that wasn't tape delayed. And then on top of that, since we want to go
wrong. That's wrong in itself because there was a majority black team.
No,
most of the teams were majority black.
Listening to respond versus listening to understand what I said. There wasn't a majority black team that wasn't tape delayed. I didn't say there wasn't a majority black team. So what I'm saying is the bottom line is we still have a culture now that is thirsty for blood. That's why the UFC is doing a lot better than boxing. All I'm saying is let's just let a couple of fouls go the other way. Let's have a couple of fights and let's see what happens.
And most importantly, there wasn't any social media for people to put the clips of the fights or repeat because people fight videos do it very well.
When has the NBA player ever made more money than what they're making now? Mr. David Anderson. When?
Why are we going to David? You gonna throw in Steven while you're at it?
No, that's your name right there, David.
Yeah, you do.
Your name is there. Your name is there with your clear microphone.
Miguel?
Yes. But that's not what I put.
Hey, Mike has a hair across his ass today. Don't worry about it.
No, I really do. Like, I really do, because this nonsense that goes on that we need more blood, that's not true, because the reason why the NBA is making so much money and why these players are so famous and these players can demand what they want to demand is because the league changed. Because the league changed and offense. No, I get it. I understand that, Dave. But my thing is, like, in the NFL, what rules the NFL is offense. What rules the NBA is offense. That's what rules. That's what brings everybody to the table. That's why we believe Steph Curry is now one of the greatest players ever. Because offensively, we allowed him to actually shoot the ball without clotheslining him at the rim. That's it. My bad. Sorry.
But isn't that the way it should be? He shouldn't have to be clotheslined to shoot the jumper.
With that being said, let me segue into the homework I gave you all real fast. Talent. Name your 4 greatest individual sports feats that literally happened during a game in any sport. And the reason why I wanted to segue into that, because one of mine was when there was a lot of fighting going on. One of mine. But name your 4 greatest individual sports feats that you saw during the game, or you could name in any sport. In any sport.
Right. Well, all mine would come from boxing. Definitely, the defeat of Buster Douglas beating Tyson. That's got to be in there. That's a shocker. With the height in the corner of Tyson, this guy losing his mom's dying before the fight, going in there reckless with nothing to lose and actually doing what we've all heard rumors of, hanging in there. Everybody was like, Tyson knocks you out early because he don't have the cardio to go the distance and have the same power. And this guy hung around. And sure enough, we started to see a slower, tired, more winded Tyson, and he pulled that shit off. The second one would definitely be when Tyson bit off Holyfield's ear. If there's ever been a time in the history of pay-per-view that everyone's gotten their money worth, that was the one. That was the one right there, bro. You could pick any fight of the last 15 fights. I would put George Foreman in there on his comeback trail, because this dude, he definitely didn't have the original George Foreman physique, but he still had that goddamn cartoon Brutus from Popeye's strength, and just plummeled him way into heavyweight contending fights. So definitely, put Foreman in there. And last but not least, we gotta put, I forgot who even did it to the man, but the Zab Judah dance.
Oh, Costa Zoo did it too.
Costa Zoo. You gotta put the Zab Judah shuffle. The Zab Judah shuffle is top 10 of everything, all time, and all things living. The Zab Judah shuffle.
All right, that's your 4. Fig, what's your 4? Your 4 greatest feats you saw on sport, any sport.
Well, two of the greatest feats had to belong to Shaquille O'Neal at size 24. No.
I hear him.
He had two biggest feats in the NBA in history of sports. No. Well, you know my favorite sport is basketball, so I'll start with basketball. Tracy McGrady in the All-Star game, where he comes down the lane, tosses the ball off the backboard, catches it, and dunks it on the whole team. I was like, yo, that was amazing. I was like, that was like one of the greatest plays I had ever seen. Dr. J coming down the baseline against the Lakers, the windmill dunk against Michael Cooper. That was another one, man. That was just out of this world. Then I'm gonna go to my second favorite sport, which is the NFL. Jerry Rice against the Los Angeles Rams. I think were they Los Angeles? They may not have, they were the Rams. Let's just say that. They were the Rams. When Jerry Rice is running down the sideline and he catches the ball one-handed between two receivers and runs it in for a touchdown. That was amazing. And last but not least, probably one of the greatest catches that we've seen in NFL history was the one Odell Beckham Jr. when they played against the Dallas Cowboys. He was being mauled and pulled out of bounds, and he made the one-handed catch over his head and brought that in for a touchdown, even though he was being it was a pass interference. So those are my four.
I like those four. Mike, give me your four.
All right, I'm not a Yankee fan, but Reggie Jackson hitting 3 home runs in a World Series is one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. Magic Johnson in the All-Star game after being diagnosed with HIV and coming back in the All-Star game and doing what he did. Leonard Marshall, as a Giant fan, knocking out Joe Montana with the San Francisco 49ers on that pass is another one. And then I will say Ali beating George Foreman, even though I was super young. But Ali beating George Foreman in a situation where my dad told me the story where he was like, we thought Ali was going to die. Like when the fight got set up, my dad was like, we thought Ali was going to die. There was no way he could beat after what George Foreman did to Joe Frazier and Ken Norton. So those are mine.
All right, Daniel Dugar, what's your 4 greatest feats you ever saw?
Mike Tyson singing and dancing in the movie Hangover.
Yes.
That is greatness.
Really was.
Definitely Reggie Jackson hitting those 3 homers, which was technically 4 because he hit one that game before.
Yes, he did. Yeah,
that shook the baseball world. Tiger Woods winning the Masters.
Oh, wow, good one. Good
one. Also, Ricky Henderson breaking Lou Brock's record. That was monumental. And that running play that Marcus Allen had, was it against the Redskins?
It was against the Redskins. Yes, it was.
Where he went 50 yards this way, came back, and then had to run 75 the other way.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah,
those are my 4. And then my honorable mention would have to be Shaq receiving the alley-oop from Kobe.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah.
Dave, give me your 4.
All right. My 4 greatest are Deion Sanders scoring a touchdown and a home run in the same week at the highest level of both sports.
Wow.
Has not been done by any other human in recorded history. Point blank and period. Makes him the greatest. Done. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, when I was like 10 years old, got ejected from a game and was so pissed, still had the game ball and was like, God, threw it up. And it was nothing but net. He didn't even look. He just walked to the back. And like everybody was like, hey. I've never seen anything like that in my entire life. Like, how do you hit a no-look skyhook while cussing out a ref while walking towards the locker room with a towel in one hand? That is phenomenal athleticism. Floyd Mayweather. took a pair of brass knuckles and punched the Big Show for real and broke his nose. That's not the part that was amazing. The part that was amazing was the part that the Guinness Book of World Records has Floyd Mayweather doing a 2.540 away from that 7'7", 500-pound man who was really trying to whoop Floyd Mayweather's ass. Floyd ran out of the arena, and finally, Allen Iverson breaking the ankles of Michael Jordan with that crossover.
Yeah. Nobody picked. Those are good for
because he carried the ball.
Nobody picked.
I don't care. I'm okay with that.
He 63-point game in playoffs. Nobody picked that. I'm surprised. Everybody picked all my other.
No, that's in my top 5. That's in my top 5. But we only have 4. I didn't know we were doing honorable. You know,
that's the case. Kobe Bryant's 75,
81.
81. Yeah, Kobe's was better than that 63.
All right, so T, the NFL started last night. Preseason game kicked off last night. Getting ready to go through some of these things, going through them fast. So I'm going to ask you, T. First thing up, the Giants looked pretty good in one aspect. I think they changed their whole offense the way they're going to do their offense now. I think they look more like the Bills. They're going to look a lot like the Bills with Josh Allen from the first series that they were playing when the starters were playing. You know, because their starters played against the Patriots' second string. Even though it's against the Patriots' second string, I saw promise. What did you see at the Giants game last night? What was your thought, Carson?
Well, I've seen the highlights. First of all, you know, by working, I had to catch the highlights. But they look – but it's no surprise if you're in New York. Once you tried everything, and for the last few seasons, none of it works, you go to that thing you didn't try, that last thing you didn't try. Yeah, it's a change up of the offense, but it looks like we got to try something totally new because the old ain't working, which is, you know, the old Giants glossy team. They got to restructure and find a new identity. I think that's out the window when you change over your front office personnel and you keep changing coaches. It's hard to keep an identity or find an identity. So I think this is what you seen last night was the new look identity that they're trying to apply to the New York Giants.
All right, Fig. Last night, Malik Willis of the Tennessee Titans, who's projected first to be a first-round pick by many analysts, he created a QB controversy last night. A lot of people in Tennessee are up, you know, they're up in arms like, yo, we like this dude, get rid of Ryan Tannehill. He looked a lot to me. I saw only highlights. He looked a lot like the Ravens QB Lamar Jackson. You think the Ravens should entertain this QB controversy or should just keep and you know, do what they continue to do, or keep Ryan Tannehill as a starter and don't worry about it. Let this boy just stay on the bench.
You know, the funny thing about it is when you're playing against guys who next week are going to be bagging groceries at the nearest Stop and Shop, you can look amazing. You know what I'm saying?
Why would you do that?
He looked great against guys who are not going to make the NFL roster. You better see him against some starters first. Before you talk about getting off a quarter or changing quarterbacks, pause. Before you think about changing quarterbacks, and you have a veteran in there that is used to playing at real NFL speed. And last but not least, Frank, the closest the Giants get to looking like the Buffalo Bills is the color of their uniform. And that's about it.
Wow.
All right. Okay. All right. Michael Sean, people woke up this morning and I saw a lot of things about the Dallas Cowboys and everybody else. Like, how will Dak Prescott handle a new season without all-star wideouts? Is he under a lot of pressure? Dak Prescott this, Dak Prescott that. Do you think Dak Prescott is going to feel any of the pressure entering this new season?
No, because all his money's guaranteed. Like, I don't know what all this pressure is supposed to be about. He got his money. The same way Ezekiel Elliott got his $50 million up front. He was like, I got it up front. And then Dak got his money. Listen, do I think they feel pressure because they're professionals and they want to excel in the NFL? Of course. But pressure is like losing your job and coming home and your wife taking a home pregnancy test. That's pressure. That's real pressure.
That's pressure.
Pressure ain't you being guaranteed money and just being ridiculed by the NFL. Dak Prescott is going to wind up having a pretty good season. Dallas will do what they normally do. They will lose their first playoff game. They will fire their coach, and Dak will be cool because then they'll bring in Sean Payton, and then they'll start all over again. Dak's really not under any pressure. Now, Daniel Jones knows if he doesn't perform this year, he's a backup quarterback in the NFL. See, that's a different type of pressure. Yeah, Dak is not going to be reduced to a backup quarterback. If Daniel Jones or Jalen Hurts does not perform this year, they will be backup quarterbacks in the NFL, which they still make a lot of money. But that ain't no real pressure. Like Dallas gets away with murder.
Speaking of pressure, Daniel Dugard, Coach Todd Bowles, his first year literally as a head coach for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Right now, Tampa Bay is going through a lot of injury issues, and then Tom Brady officially walked away and everything else. Do you think he's under pressure? Todd Bowles under pressure to deliver? Because people are expecting them to get to the Super Bowl this year, especially adding a couple of new wideouts. You think he's under pressure?
I believe Tampa Bay was not, for me, expected to go into the Super Bowl anyway. So I don't think there's going to be any pressure. The only pressure on Tampa Bay and that head coach is what the media is going to give them. I didn't see Tampa Bay going to the Super Bowl anyway. So I think the brother's job will be secure.
So you didn't see Tampa Bay going to Super Bowl, even though you didn't?
Absolutely not.
Even though they got that new that Julio Jones.
See, you sound like the media. You sound like the media.
He is.
I don't necessarily agree, but I'm asking you.
I don't agree, man. I don't agree. And by the way, did you guys see the new Predator movie, Prey?
Yes. Yeah.
I never saw Tampa Bay going, Frank.
Okay, all right. I give you that.
Hold on. Did you like Prey?
It wasn't bad, but I watched it. I'm about
to mute you just on that alone. It wasn't bad. You're about to be muted.
It wasn't bad, but I watched it.
Frank, before you ask your question, what movie did Daniel Dugard see? Because that movie was the best Predator movie since the first one.
You liked it, right?
That's what I said. It wasn't. I said it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. I didn't say I didn't like it. I said it wasn't bad. But there you are, Dave Anderson. You're sounding like the media. You're sounding like the media.
You know what?
But Daniel, did you
potato salad?
But hold up, Daniel. Real quick, Daniel, on a scale of 1 to 5, what did you rate the movie? Because I watched it. What did you rate it on a scale of 1 to 5?
I give it a 7.
On a scale of 1 to 5?
Oh, scale of 1 to 5, I give it a 3.
Oh, okay. So, all right.
Dave,
I enjoyed it. But go ahead.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good.
Seahawks right now are also going through a lot of pressure. Mm-hmm. Pete Carroll's under a lot of pressure. They lost their QB, everything else. Pete Carroll get fired if they don't get to the playoffs this year, Dave?
In a word, yes. Simple. Like, you lost your QB. What we have here is a team that became relevant and started really making moves because they had, say what you want about him being a simp, say what you want about him being a little bit too nice, say what you want to say about him. Russell Wilson made that team phenomenal. I think that this is going to be a restructuring year for the Seahawks. I don't think there's going to be a lot of movement, and I don't see them making the playoffs. Sorry, not sorry.
I understand that.
Frank. Pete Carroll's a 75-year-old multi-millionaire. The pressure he feels is getting out of the bed without a bunch of aches and pains. That's all the pressure that Pete Carroll.
Since we're talking about the NFLT, I'm going to ask each and every one of you guys this question. Name your 4 best offenses you think will be in the NFL this season, and give me one that would surprise me. Give me one that's going to surprise me, because you got your 4. They are your usual suspects. But give me one.
I think the surpriser, I'll give you that one first. The surpriser will be my Jets. That's going to be the biggest surprise in NFL this season. Remember, I told you that. The Jets turnaround happens this season, and it's going to kind of not when you see 11, 12 wins, people are going to be like, oh, my God, these guys didn't even make the playoffs for the last couple. So that's your surprise. But top 4 offenses off the bat, I'm going with Buffalo. Buffalo got to beat. I'm going with Green Bay. I'm going with Mahomes turning things back on track over there. And I'm not even going to go with Brady. I'm going to go with the hype of everybody believing the Raiders going to have something this year.
All right, that's your 4. Fig, who's your 4?
I go with my surprise first. I've been on this dude. Pause. I've been talking about this QB being good for the last 3 years. Jameis Winston and the New Orleans Saints. I really believe that the New Orleans Saints is not going to fall off that much with this kid, Jameis Winston, because he has a big arm. You know what I mean? And last year he did very well, but he got injured. Number 2 is Miami. I believe with the addition of a bunch of good receivers and some players and stuff like that, Tua is going to do exceptionally well. I like Miami. Kansas City Chiefs, for the same reason that Talent said. I mean, they got addition by subtraction. They lost Tyreek Hill, but they put on a lot of other decent receivers that you can't cover them all. You know what I mean? So I think Kansas City is going to do well. The Chargers. I think the Chargers, although I talked about, yesterday or the day before that get them out of the league, but I think the Chargers are going to do exceptionally well, and I know this is going to make Frank happy. Last but not least, Cincinnati, the Bengals. I think the Cincinnati Bengals could make some noise this year.
I don't know how that makes me happy, but okay.
I thought that was your QB that you loved over there in the Bengals.
I he's okay. My favorite QB besides Mac Jones is that kid out of the Chargers. That kid from the Chargers is phenomenal.
He said Mac Jones.
Yeah. Besides, that's what I said. Mike, who's your 4?
Number 1, since Talent said the Jets, anybody can say anybody. Like anybody can say any team. The Minnesota Twins will have the best offense in football. Since Talent said the Jets.
So disrespectful.
Anybody can say anybody.
If you're supposed to be able to. Yeah.
Oh God, shut up.
The Boy Scouts of America will have the best offense in the NFL. He said the Jets. Okay, number 1, Joe Burrows is going to be the best quarterback in football this year. He will prove it again. He will prove that he doesn't even need an offensive line to get to the Super Bowl. And he will have still the best tandem of receivers in the NFL. That will be the best offense in the NFL. Then it will be Buffalo. Now, if you want a surprise, since he said the Jets, I'm going to say the Minnesota Vikings. They get the receivers back. They got everybody on there. And I know we all want to hate on Kirk Cousins. I know we all want to hate. But if Zach Wilson is going to be put in this conversation, I think the Minnesota Vikings will have the surprise offense of the NFL. And everybody else is going to go accordingly. I don't think I'll give you the one disappointment. I think San Francisco is going to have a downfall, and they're going to regret taking Jimmy G out that offense and putting all their chips in on a rookie. Not saying he's not going to wind up being good. I'm just saying this year, his first year is going to be very difficult.
Daniel Dugar, give me your 4.
And that's where I counter. I believe the 49ers are going to have a very explosive offensive team. I also believe if the O-line holds up, the Raiders are going to have a very offensive, explosive team. I believe the Ravens are going to have a dope offense with everybody being healthy. And I believe the Rams definitely.
Oh yeah, the Rams.
Daniel Dugar, you picked my 4. Like that's
and we agreed on something. I don't even want to do the show no more. I'm leaving. Bye.
You picked my 4. Those are my 4. And I had my honorable mention was the Chargers. You picked my 4. Who didn't go? Dave, give me your 4.
All right. Listen, look, let's just be honest here. There's some things we're not looking at because you guys don't look at anything from a business perspective. So let me help you out here. I'm going to start with my surprise. My surprise is going to be the Washington Commanders are going to have a phenomenal offense this year. For 2 reasons. Number 1, they have the worst flipping name in the history of any sport. Number 2, because of all of the controversy and legal trouble, they have to do something spectacular on the field because there's nothing left to do in the front office other than duck, tuck, and cover. For those same reasons, and just because they have a much stronger roster, the Las Vegas Raiders are going to have a phenomenal year. I think the Vikings as well are going to do great. And I'm sorry, all of y'all are haters because we know good and hell well that most pundits out here are saying that the Eagles are going to the chip. So let's not act like the Eagles are not going to have a phenomenal offense this year.
What pundits have you talked to that said the Eagles are going to
win? The Frank talked to when he says everybody's talking about something. Let it live. Damn it.
Let your bitch ass. Hey Frank. Can I respond to this? First of all, I need to know who I'm talking to. Am I talking to Dave Anderson or the Business Bully? Because I noticed you secretly and smoothly changed it to Business Bully and got rid of Dave Anderson.
What happened, you are on a different computer, and it's like normally when I do. Why am I explaining myself to you Negroes?
Hold on. Can I just ask a question?
All of us are here, and all of us have a response. Okay.
Hold on. Can I ask a question? If Justin from the Chargers doesn't make the playoffs this year, can we say he's overrated?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to wait because this is a guy he's been told that he's going to win the MVP, has never made the playoffs. I've never seen somebody so hyped up who's never made the playoffs. And Joe Burrow went to the damn Super Bowl. And this guy, there are people saying Max Kellerman is saying he's going to win the MVP. Like, I just want to make sure if he doesn't make the playoffs this year, we can't say he's overrated.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I wanted to.
But see, let me ask you this real fast since we got a little bit of time left, man. The Cleveland Browns supposed to have a decision made on them by 5:00 this afternoon. People are upset about obviously Deshaun Watson situation and everything. I got to throw it out there, man. Deshaun Watson is supposed to play in the preseason game tonight. Do you think he should play, or do you think he should sit his behind down? What do you think?
Well, it all depends. Do I get a massage first?
I knew it was.
I like how you leaned into the camera and said that. Do I get a massage?
No pun intended. I knew it was coming. No pun intended. I knew it was coming. I knew
it wasn't going to be a happy ending.
Well, I mean, just think about it. If you get the massage first, obviously you play, you loosened up and everything. Well, no massage, no play. You know, I would become that guy. Now I'm known for the masseuse, so everything be wrapped around the massage balls. You know what I mean? Everything that have something to do with that. But all jokes aside, of course you can play if you can, because this suspension, we don't know where it's going to end up sitting at. You know what I mean? It's going to stay there, it's going to be less, more. So, I mean, any reps you can get in, practice or not, why not? I mean, I hate people to sit around and rust up.
All right. Fig, Marshawn Lynch was pulled out of a car last night or camera. He was asleep. The car was undrivable, and the police pulled him out of the car. Everything else looked like he had to sleep. No one.
It happens. It happens. It happens.
Yeah, it does happen. It does happen. That's why I didn't ask you, Mike. It does happen.
It happens. It happens. Sometimes you want to take a nap. Let me ask you, Fig.
Marshawn Lynch is still a lovable guy. People still love him and everything else. And the NFL can't touch him and everything else. Do you think this hurts his image in any way, shape, or form?
What image? Marshawn is famous for, I'm just here so I don't get fined. What image are we talking about here? I'm just like beast mode.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I don't know what image. Listen, I'll tell you one thing it could hurt. He's had a few endorsements of late. It may hurt his endorsements, but that'll determine whether he actually fell asleep or he was under the influence. Because as somebody who doesn't drink, I have fallen asleep at a light several times on the way home from a late show.
Okay, I like that answer, Mike Sean. If you are the San Francisco 49ers.
Ask me the Marshawn Lynch question. Ask me that question.
I purposely didn't ask you that. If you want to address it, I purposely didn't ask you that. You want to address it. What you think about Marshawn Lynch?
I think it's a damn shame when you admit when you fall asleep and you pull to the side and you fall asleep and you're admitting that you are doing wrong and you're trying to do better. And then they pull you out and then you fall off and then they videotape you when you fall out the car. But obviously I was sleeping to begin with. Like I was trying to tell you, I admitted my guilt. And listen, DWIs are nothing to joke with. Drinking and driving is nothing to be funny about because it's one of my top 5 regrets that I've ever done. But when you pull over and you go to sleep, you're saying, I know what I'm doing is wrong, and I'm trying to fix it by not putting anybody else in danger. And then when somebody rolls up on you and says, you're going to jail for pulling to the side and going to sleep, it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, it doesn't make like any rational sense, because I just said I am wrong. I pulled to the side. I went to sleep because I didn't want to put anybody else in danger. So what was your next question real quick? Or you can go to the next person. If you
and the funny thing, let me just add on to this. The funny thing is that made sense for him to do that because he didn't have nowhere else to sleep. He ain't going to sleep outside.
You know? But guys, let me say this. And most of you guys, drunks like Michael Sean, no. So the technical term of the law is you can't be operating a motor vehicle under the influence. So the technical part is, even if you pulled over and you're sitting behind the wheel with the keys in that car, you're still in the same position. You're behind a motor vehicle, so it can slip into gear, whatever. You're still in a deadly position as far as the technical part of the law goes. You know, I don't have to. I'm telling you guys. Me and Mike know this, but what I'm saying is, everyone else, beware.
You talking about from experience.
I have one more. I have one more thing. Hold on. I have one more thing to say.
You should have went to the passenger seat.
This law that says your keys are in the ignition. I hate to tell y'all, I've lived a good life. There are no keys that are in my ignition. Everything's a push start. So now they got you.
Yeah.
So now, even if you're in park, they just say they eliminated that rule that your keys had to be in the ignition. And Taylor knows too much about these rules because so I'm just saying.
Well, Mike, remember that one time? It was one time me and Mike was coming from the show, and obviously he was drinking. When the lights came on, we switched seats. They still knew it was Mike. And then another show.
That's because you got the back seat. I thought y'all switching seats. I'm sorry.
Oh, Jesus. Sorry. They knew I was drunk before they put the flashlight on. They said, "Why is his head in the glove?"
Duga, let me ask you, bro.
They switch seats and they ask Talent, why are you sitting on the dashboard?
Duga, you want to answer this? Why are you climbing in the trunk? Why are you climbing in the trunk?
Why are you juggling Michael Sean? You're juggling Michael Sean right now.
Hey, you switch seats and they only kept you because the seatbelts are in the knot.
You want to I'm sorry, dude. You got.
Oh man.
No, you good.
Okay, you got what you want to add on to this, Marshawn?
So, because I know the family, the Marshawn Lynch thing kind of hits home, but the law states being behind the wheel of a motor vehicle, and that could have really went bad. We saw how they pulled him out. We saw the incident that happened last week in Los Angeles with the girl going through the lights.
Yes.
This is a very serious issue, and I've been hearing a lot of people on social media, especially from the town, been given passes, from all the great charity work that he does, which I agree. Had that been one of us, we would have probably got a knee in the back of the neck.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it could have been real bad, but the fact that Marshawn was pulled over sleeping under the influence of edibles?
Right.
Yeah.
It's still behind the wheel.
Right.
Of a motor vehicle. And if he didn't have enough sense to pull over, it could have been bad endangerment, not only of his life, but someone else's life.
So, Daniel, can we mention, because you said behind the wheel, can we mention this car was missing the front driver's wheel?
And the back one, too. The left back one, too.
Dave, you want to add on to that, bro?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I come from a long line of phenomenal drunks. And this is a situation where I feel like no one wants to give credit where credit is due. But this just shows you how messed up society is. Like, Anne Heche was drunk as a skunk, and everybody has all the thoughts and prayers in the world. Marshawn Lynch did something responsible, did not crash into anybody, didn't hurt anybody's baby. And it's like, oh, Marshawn Lynch, he done messed up now. Like, this is the type of stuff that, you know, makes me want to find a nice, quiet, non-extradition country where I can just sit back and be black, you know, and just deal with regular stuff. Yeah, no, I'm upset.
And fentanyl. I thought that was cocaine and fentanyl. I didn't know she was drunk. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. It is cocaine and fentanyl. Is that worse than edibles? I'm sorry. I'm maybe, you know, maybe I need to get to another DARE class.
I don't know. But I do one thing, Dave. Your setup is beautiful. I like that setup you got over there. It's I love it. That's radio to go.
Yeah, man. Look like you're doing the show in a beautiful fish tank.
Thank you, Fig. You know,
Daniel, are you going to be able to do the show next week? Daniel, are you going to be able to do the show next week?
Who you talking to, me?
Yeah, I was talking to you. Daniel Duke, are you going to be able to do
if I could do it from the ship, man, because I'm out for 2 weeks, I can. I can.
In case we don't see you next week, thank you for joining the show.
Yeah, no doubt. But check this out though, man. Business bully background ain't all that. It ain't Mike Sean's. Mike Sean's backdrop look like, you know, it's like it's some balance going on back there. Business bully, who I'm still not sitting well with him removing David Anderson.
David was never up there. It was just Dave. Michael decided to call me
Anderson.
David. Yes, sir.
I was feeling Dave Anderson, but he had to get technical and bring in business bully to get his point across. And the backdrop looks like a door move of a football player that really don't get a lot of playing time.
If you notice on this show, I don't get a lot of playing time either, Dugar. You might be I'm overcompensating with my
banter. I love your banter, though. I think you dope. I think you quick. But your background's still not Michael Sean.
I mean, scale of 1 to 5. Scale of 1 to 5. I just want to know what my background is.
Speaking of backgrounds, Frank, what the hell are you doing over there?
The plastic off his grandma. Leave Frank alone, Dugar. That's why I draw the line.
It looks like Frank is sitting in the lobby of a Super 8.
Yo, Frank. Hold on. Frank's background is the same background that if Brittany Griner was on the show right now, she'd have the same background right now.
He is in a lazy boy sofa that's been set in the middle of the crease at the Super 8.
That's a good one. He called me Brittany Griner's background. That's a good one.
Yes.
That's a good one.
Oh man!
Oh god!
All right, Dave, everybody out there, how they can follow you, the Business Bully.
Oh yeah, you can follow me at the Business Bully. I put it right here so that I wouldn't have to do it later on. And yeah, Caroline's August 23rd. Bring your ass, please. Tickets are selling fast.
I appreciate that, Fig. You got that.
That is hilarious.
Crazy. And Comedian Fig also comedian platforms. Caroline's the 23rd, baby. Let's do it.
Is on the ship next week. He told everybody, and my man Michael Stein.
Huh? No, go ahead. No, go ahead. I'll go after Mike. Give him my info.
August 23rd, obviously, we're about to make an instant classic happen at Caroline's. Box Seats is going to have the podcast, and we're going to do a comedy show, and we're going to rock out. Also, if you're in DeSoto, Texas, I will be there. I'm coming back home. I'm coming back to my second home, DeSoto, Texas. I'm going to be there August 27th. That's a Saturday, so check that out. But the main focus is August 23rd, Caroline's Comedy Club, Rodney Perry, Talent, Fig, me, Business Bully, Frank Holder. And if Daniel Dugar is in the area and he's not on the ship, he'll probably pop in. But if he's not, he's on the ship. Okay, I was just trying.
You can swim.
I won't be there. I will be on the ship, but I got some stuff that Frank. Did you share what I did with y'all? Did you first share with him, Frank?
I didn't share anything.
Okay, we got about 4 comedy clubs in the Bay that y'all gonna be doing. I'm gonna be there.
Oh, nice.
Anyway, you can follow me at Daniel Dugar Carnival.
Oh,
Daniel Dugar Carnival.
Pimp the game.
If you don't want that, you can follow me at Dave Anderson.
And Tyler, you get to close us out, man, because you in the vineyard, T. You in the vineyard, man.
Hey, shout out, first and foremost, shout out to Caroline's, who's been the #1 comedy club in the country and the movement for Black comics and giving them away for the last 30 years. So this is going to be a great year-end closeout. We got the 23rd with box seats. My son headlines Caroline's on September 20th. Rob Stapleton was there Columbus Day weekend on his birthday on that show. And I'll be headlining, closing out December as well. So that's 4 months, almost back-to-back at Caroline's. Out here in the vineyard, shout out to Sherry Shepherd. My final show is tomorrow here at 8 o'clock at the Strand Theater with Sherry Shepherd, Damon Williams. We're here for the Comedy Festival, man. I urge every comic to figure out a way to get involved, even if you ain't booked. Come here. It's a great networking thing. The Black Film Festival is here 1 week. The Black College is here another week. So every week is something paired up. And this is August. So here in the vineyard is considered Black Comedy Month.
I know we're going over, Frank. I know you're gonna get mad because you got to edit. I want to congratulate Talent for his son being at Caroline's, because I think that is an amazing thing to have your son follow in your footsteps and do as well as he's doing. So I just wanted to say that. So
Thank you, brother.
I just say, what's your son's name, Talent? What's your son's name? Talent.
That's
so
his born name.
Talent.
Yep.
Oh, that boy is too talented to be talented.
If you can get down to Martha's Vineyard, you got to find a way to get back, because I'm having a hard time. I was trying to get down there, and I just can't book it to come back. So I've been trying to get down there for 3 days. So if you figure it out and everything else, let T know, because I'm sure Talent will hit you up on how to get back. But that's phenomenal. Thank you guys. We appreciate that. Everybody have a safe weekend. Everybody up there who's watching, thank you all. Have a great safe weekend. Let's see if the end button works today. But until then, that's Business Bully, Fig, Daniel Dugas, Talent, Michael Shine. Y'all have a great safe weekend.
Peace.